It's Monday, and you know what that means. Welcome to Throne Zone Season 3. This is your captain speaking, along with Sir Daniel of House Crimmins. No longer on tour. We're we're back in the studio, so to speak. And we've just experienced episode 8 of House of the Dragon, and my God, what an episode!
Oh yeah, so much happened in like an hour's time that like the pieces are on the board and the first move has been made.
Yeah, we've experienced our final time jump, at least for this season. Um, and the adults almost matured, but then the kids fucked things up again. But we'll get to all of that. Um, so we immediately kick it off with Vaemond questioning Rhaenys about the succession of House Valerian because Rhaenyra's kids' lineage is the worst kept secret in all of Westeros right now.
Oh yeah, everybody
Every
knows.
Yeah, like Aegon said last week, everybody knows they are Harwin Strong's boys, big strong boys. So, Vaemond pretty much just wants to claim the throne for himself after Corlys is wounded in battle and isn't very likely to survive.
Yeah, not looking good for Corlys.
No, I mean you can see where Vaemond's coming from. No, like
He's right.
he is in the right. Yeah, he wants to continue his family, his bloodline. And Jace is not from his bloodline, but he's going to inherit his throne, which means pretty much the end of House Valerian, almost. Um, Unlike what Corlys said last week, Vaemond doesn't care about names; he cares about blood.
Yeah, he looks
Um,
at it that way, and it's they all know it, and I mean he's right. He's
yeah,
absolutely right.
he comes across as a dick, but he's very right.
Yeah,
So this opening scene pretty much sets the tone for what's to come in this episode. Like this opening scene puts the pieces on the board. Um, so we've skipped ahead 6 years. Viserys wasn't looking great in the last episode, and he is very much at the end in this episode as Rhaenyra and Daemon arrive in King's Landing to visit him. Very much on his deathbed. He's the shell of a man. He's all skin and bone,
he's the
and
crypt
not
keeper.
even all skin.
He's the crypt keeper.
Yeah, and about to be in his own crypt. He's just man. Paddy Considine's performance has been amazing, and as the series has gone on, obviously we've watched Viserys deteriorate, and like you look at this episode and you look at the first episode, and like that's the same guy that's been playing this character
Oh yeah.
in just 8 episodes, and how different he looks.
And props to the costume and the war and the makeup and effects team. Like you look at him last night and how he looked, and you just think, is that the same guy? Like it was
Yeah,
hard to believe, you know?
they've done an amazing job with Viserys.
Oh, very much.
And it was very painful to see what he's become in just 8 episodes. That opening episode, the season premiere when we first met Viserys, he wasn't the strongest guy, but he was healthy. um, he had a kind of majestic aura about him, and we've gone from that to just that's just death.
Yeah,
He just looks like death.
it was tough. Like it was tough to see him, in bed, just like, and I don't think Rhaenyra and Daemon knew what to expect. I don't think they realized how sick he was.
No, like I'm sure they knew he didn't have long left, but still to see him like that was a shock to them.
Yeah, but
Um,
he got to meet his two new grandsons, so there's that,
yeah, one of them named after him, of course.
which I think made him happy. But
Yeah, but I mean, way to confuse the guy that's already very, very confused. This is Aegon. Wait, what? Another one? And this is Viserys.
don't
Uh,
confuse the old man.
no, he's got enough lost up there already. But it was nice to see him reconnect with Daemon. Um, Even more so in the next scene, but in this scene in particular, it was clear how difficult it was for even Daemon to see him like that after all they've been through.
Oh yeah, I think Damon kind of softened a little bit. Like he wasn't the raging dick last night.
No, I don't know if it's marriage or having kids or whatever.
Both, maybe.
Yeah, but he has softened very much. He's still a badass. I mean, this episode, every single movement, word, and everything he did was just so cool. He's become the coolest fucking character in the show.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Damon has been probably the best character.
Yeah, definitely the most multi-layered character. But
Yeah,
yeah, last night Damon was cool as fuck. So in the throne room, um, it seems as though obviously the king's too weak to oversee these proceedings. So Otto Hightower takes his place on the throne, which we saw in the trailer last week when we were wondering is Viserys even going to be in this episode. Vaymond makes his case. And just as Rhaenyra is about to fight back, the doors open. In comes Viserys in such an epic way. The music was perfect for this scene when he made that entrance.
and I think it was pretty clear that the Hightower camp was not happy that he showed up.
No, they definitely weren't expecting it. Um, I mean, as we learned, also they've been like feeding him the milk of the poppy, which obviously helps with the pain, but also leaves him very confused. And he refused to take it because he wanted to attend this petition with his full brain capacity, whatever's left of it, anyway.
Yeah, I think they. I mean, it was clear that Otto Hightower was manipulating him.
Yeah, almost like Theoden and Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, easily, easily.
But
I
yeah,
think in his mind, like he was just trying to figure out a way to get Aegon as the heir.
yeah. And obviously they very much agree with Vaemond that Jace doesn't belong on the throne of Driftmark. So Viserys' interruption obviously throws a spanner in the works for Team Green. Um, and it was such a touching moment when he drops the crown or the crown falls off his head and Daemon is the one to pick it up and help
Yeah,
him onto the throne. Great moment.
that was a really nice touch. Like you had to figure it was going to be somebody
Well, yeah, I
like
mean, you'd expect Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra or I would say Aegon, but Aegon's a little shit. So
Aegon's an asshole.
and he's only going to get worse.
Oh, he is, yeah. I mean, we only heard about his behavior in this episode. We didn't actually see very much despicable behavior until we get to the supper. But Viserys stands his ground that Jace is Laenor's trueborn son, and the heir to the Driftmark throne. Vaemond speaks up again and loses his head. Well, half his head at the hands of Daemon.
And there's that epic line where Viserys says, "I will have your tongue," and then you just see the top, where you see his head just cut in half, and Damon just utters that epic line. He can keep his tongue.
Yeah, because literally all you see is just the tongue.
Like that's all it's left.
And it was a really cool death too. Like it was, I mean, you knew Damon was gonna take him down because it was building towards it when Damon began speaking up again, and you heard Damon just whisper, "Say it," like daring him to say it. And then Damon does say it, of course, puts his foot in it. but it
Oh
was
yeah.
such a sudden death. Like it came from nowhere.
Oh yeah. Like I figured it was gonna be somebody. I figured the Kingsguard was gonna do it, but and I think more importantly, what this does is, there was the question is, well, are you gonna put the control of the fleet in the hands of a child, or
Yeah,
but also you got to realize that this also kind of puts the Valerian household in the camp of the team of Team Black of
yeah,
Rhaenyra's camp.
very much. There was a scene between Rhaenyra and Rhaenys, kind of reconnecting. Obviously, Rhaenyra and Daemon are getting the blame for Laenor's death, even though he's not really dead. And they came to this agreement that they're gonna marry their kids to each other. So there's an alliance there now between Rhaenys and Rhaenyra, which obviously is why Rhaenys took her side and went against Vaemond in this scene.
Yeah, which I think even with that, the High Towers would have ruled in favor of Vaemond.
Definitely, yeah. It's not looking good for Team Green after this episode, in all honesty. Well, up until this point, anyway. Um, so Viserys demands a Last Supper. He didn't call it a Last Supper, but as soon as he's had a supper and he's deteriorating, it's gonna be a Last Supper with the whole family. Um, and again, he urges everybody to squash their beef. Everybody needs to get along for the sake of the the, the Targaryen dynasty.
Yeah,
And for a moment, it seems like Alicent and Rhaenyra did kind of bury the hatchet, or at least they were civil to each other.
it seemed like things were gonna be okay. Like the adults were getting along,
The adults were getting along, yeah, but then the kids,
and not just. I wouldn't say necessarily just the kids. It was Alicent's children.
yeah, it was Aegon and Aemond who fucked things up.
Those two little shits.
Like, honestly, Rhaenyra's kids are doing nothing wrong.
No,
They're both now betrothed to Rhaenys's granddaughters. So there's that alliance there between Rhaenyra's bastards and House Valerian. And all they
strong.
just want to big strong boys. They just want to get on with their lives. But Aegon and Aemond are just two little shits that can't let peace take place.
And
So
Aemon still has not forgotten, nor has he forgiven Lucerys.
no, and I mean, there's a constant reminder. But you could just feel them building and building as they taunted each other back and forth across the room, even with just eye contact. Um, and we heard it like partway through the episode about Aegon's behavior, particularly towards the serving girl, which obviously his mother wasn't happy about.
Oh no.
But at the same time, like she paid the girl off and then gave her the tea, just to be safe. But obviously, you can see she's disgusted by her son's behavior, and obviously then went to confront him about it. And he's
He
just a
admitted it.
spoiled little brat.
He absolutely admitted it.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
He's like, so?
Yeah, he was like, it's no big deal.
She's
Um,
a girl.
and it is very much like Cersei and Joffrey. Like she is kind of losing control with his behavior, or she can't control his behavior. He's just a little shit.
Yeah, I mean, part of, with her being a mother is like, you can't just let your kid do whatever the hell they want.
Now, even if he is, in your eyes, heir to the throne.
Like, you got to set boundaries. And she's like, oh, do whatever you want.
I mean,
She's
she'll yell at him for it, but he can do what he wants. He's gonna get
she's
away with it.
she strikes me as that kind of parent, and you see them, the type that like, oh, not my child. My child wouldn't do that. They do that in public, but then in private, it's like, you little asshole.
Yeah, the back of her mind, she's like, little shit. But in reality, it's okay. Well, sorry about that.
And like she was so cold towards that servant girl. She's like, I'm not saying I believe you, but nobody else will.
Right. Yeah. Very passive aggressive, and also very manipulative. But I mean, she also did have a point. Like, nobody will believe her.
I mean, props to Olivia Cook. She's been absolutely phenomenal so far.
Yeah. There's always a sense of unpredictability with her. I mean, especially after what we saw last week with that confrontation, you just never quite know how she's going to react to things, especially when it comes to Aegon or Aemond.
And
Um,
poor Helena Targaryen, she's just sort of there.
she comes across as very naive, so everybody's toasting each other. And it originally these toasts begin as genuine, let's bury the hatchet. Then it gets to the kids, and there's just cheap little
Dig.
blows, cheap little digs in those toasts. And then Helena just gets up and just, oh yeah, enjoy marriage. Most of it, he's just going to ignore you for most of it, and it's just like, sit down, girl, please.
Just stop. Stop talking. And then there was the toast from Aemon to the good strong boys.
Yeah, he's the one that really set things off. But
And
at the same time, Luke kind of ticked him off. Obviously, when the pig was brought to the table, and he's just laughing at Aemon because obviously they presented Aemon with a pig as a dragon when they were younger. Um, so these two sets of brothers are destined to clash in a big way.
oh yeah, whether that happens in the finale, which there's something coming, or whether it happens next season, it's tough to say because like this part of the story, there's not a lot of detail in the book Fire and Blood. There's not a
Mm,
lot, so pacing is off. So who knows?
yeah, and this is all the prelude to obviously what's to come.
And I love the interaction between Allison and Eamon, where she's basically saying, "Dude, why the hell would you do that?" And he just says, "What, mother? I was just toasting my nephews. I was complimenting them. It's not my fault they don't agree."
Again, very passive aggressive, but I mean, to like, if you turn a blind eye to the rumors and everything, if you just hear this based on what he was saying and knowing nothing else, it does come across as complimentary. They're handsome, young, strong boys, but obviously we know the two meanings of the word strong,
Oh yeah,
which is where the insult comes in. And Jason and Luke obviously both know that they're not Lena's sons, that
oh, yeah.
they are the offspring of House Strong. So obviously they're gonna jump every single time someone brings this up, and they take it very, very personally,
And
and it
I
is
think
personal.
going back to the scene with Vaymond, I don't think it was necessarily him calling the nephews bastards. But I think the biggest insult was when he called Rhaenyra a whore.
Oh yeah, that's probably what set Damon off the most.
Because like Viserys, if he was stronger, he would have done it himself.
Yeah, I mean he did take his dagger out when he stood up.
But Damon the love for Damon loves Rhaenyra.
Yeah, and
And
not only that, but because he loves Rhaenyra so much, he is stepping up for the boys. Because when their lineage is questioned, she's questioned at the same time.
oh
And
yeah,
obviously he's very protective of her and by extension the two boys.
they're essentially
Um,
his kids.
yeah, and speaking of kids, something that was pretty subtle, like you kept seeing it, but nobody ever really alluded to it, was Rhaenyra seems to be pregnant again. She kept rubbing her stomach. obviously by Daemon.
Yeah, we know it's not another strong boy. Well, it could be, but I don't see Laris kind of.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. He wasn't in this episode, surprisingly.
Yeah, we didn't
Consi-
see that creepy bastard this time.
no, considering how much of a little snake he's been midway through this season, it was kind of surprising to have him not in the episode at all.
No, I mean I think he at this point is Lord of Harrenhal, so
Yeah,
maybe
well,
he's
I
there
mean, he's the only strong left.
officially.
Officially, yeah. On paper, he's the only strong that's left.
But no, it's just sad. It's like it really seemed like Allison and Rhaenyra were like things were calming down.
Yeah, like they both kind of realized. I think Allison does love Viserys in a way, so they both kind of realized that they're both letting this man down by constantly bickering. Um, and all he wants is for everybody to get along, as we keep saying.
Yeah, can't we all just get along?
But the great thing when Aemond um threw shit into the fan was Damon stepping in front of him, almost daring him to step up to him instead.
Yeah, because Damon would have cut him down,
Yeah,
and
and
he
that
wouldn't have cared.
that is one fight that I am hopefully we get, and if we do, I'm looking forward to it. Is Aemon versus Damon?
Oh yeah, and not on a dragon. It needs to be like a sword fight.
Yeah. Um.
Did you notice Damon had his cloak on again in a scene? He went into Flea Bottom.
Yeah.
So I gotta wonder what that's about.
Yeah. I can't think of any reason.
Unless he's making a move against one of his nephews. Or in laws, brother in laws.
It's so confusing. The ages were kind of confusing too because now all of a sudden, Aemond looks older than Aegon. He looks closer to Daemon's age actually.
He looks
Um,
more like Damon.
he does, and even Jason Luke. So Jacaerys is the older one, but Lucerys looks older and sounds older than Jacaerys does.
And the my biggest issue was the guy they've got playing Aegon now. Like, how do you go from Ty Tennant to this guy? Like, the look of Aegon just is changed so drastically.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think they needed to recast. Like, the guy that's playing Aegon now doesn't really look very much older than Ty Tennant did. And I think with the right kind of
He looks
makeup and
kind of young.
hair and whatever, Ty Tennant could look older as an older Aegon.
If anything, he kind of looks younger than Ty Tennant did.
Yeah, certainly looks younger than his younger brother.
I and you have the Helena Targaryen. She looked like the oldest of the bunch.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the problem is if you kept Ty Tennant and just made him look older, which I think could have easily been done,
Oh, easily.
then it would have been weird if you had kept all the other kids too, and I don't think many of them would have pulled it off.
No, definitely not. Not the Valerian boys.
So it was either none or all. But I mean, willing to give him a chance, he was still great as a little shit in this episode.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's who knows if there's not going to be another recasting.
Maybe next season, yeah, we'll see. I don't know when or if there's going to be another time jump after this season. Because again, I tried to keep away from the written history, so I don't know quite what the time frame is between what we're seeing now and when the whole civil war kicks off.
And then there was that our final glimpse of Viserys. You know that
Yeah, Paddy's curtain call. And if it wasn't sad enough, in his final moments, he fucks up majorly.
oh
If
yeah,
anything, Viserys is the catalyst to what we're about to see in the Civil War because obviously he, for some reason, mistook Alicent for Rhaenyra, so went on to talk about the Song of Ice and Fire again, and through his own mistakes, he pretty much made Alicent believe that he wants her to put Aegon on the throne, which is against everything he's been saying all along.
yeah. And you know he was. I mean, he was dying. Like he was not in his right mind.
No, and this whole conversation was a misunderstanding on both sides.
Like
I mean, in all fairness, Allison just is gonna react to what he told her now. Like, it's not really she. It's not like he's told her one thing and she's taking it another way. As far as she's concerned, he's just telling her that he wants to see Aegon on the throne.
But does she? My whole thing is, does she think? Well, is he talking about my Aegon or Rhaenyra's Aegon?
Yeah, that's the thing. She didn't stop to think about it. She just said, "Oh, he must obviously be talking about our Aegon."
Yeah. Does she even know that she has a grandson, which is kind of weird to think.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So this was obviously Viserys' final scene. Um. I don't know if people would notice unless they had the subtitles on, because when the screen goes to black, the subtitles comes up, breathing stops, which pretty much tells you he's
Yeah.
dead. Um. So this episode very much was, I think, Paddy's episode.
Oh yeah.
As much as the kids, were at each other's throats, this was very much Paddy Considine's shining moment as Viserys, despite how broken down and horrific shape he was in. This was probably his best performance as Viserys.
Oh yeah. It typically with a show that's trying to get Emmy nominations, you submit an episode like something
Yeah,
that the people that vote in the Emmys can look at and just say, okay, if
yeah,
I'm on House of the Dragon, that's the episode I'm submitting.
yeah, yeah,
In
without
Constantine,
question.
I'm submitting that one,
I mean,
and he's gonna get a nomination.
yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones always gets nominations. I think Peter Dinklage's win was based on his trial by combat speech in the trial,
Oh yeah, like I think I would rank this episode up with that one
very much in terms of performance value. Yeah.
because when you see those doors open, because I think before they open, I think Otto Hightower was getting ready to make his decision,
Oh yeah,
and then
Rhaenyra didn't stand a chance.
you see the doors open, and he and Ellison kind of look at each other like, "Oh shit," and Rhaenys, like, she didn't want to side with Rhaenyra, but she also realized that I honestly think Vaemond would have taken her out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, when he said he should be the one to inherit the throne, she did kind of pretty much say, "Well, I'm still standing in your way. You don't get anything as long as I'm still here."
And he would have taken her out, and also, the Greens, they're going to take out anybody that's, a threat.
Which at the moment is everybody that's not Hightower.
Yeah. Hightower or has made their allegiance very clear.
I don't think like they have any allies. The only allies they have really is based on Viserys's Kingsguard and whatnot.
And they've got Vagar.
They do have a big ass dragon too, yeah. And that was another thing about this episode. It was probably one of the best episodes of the whole season. Not a single dragon in the whole episode.
No. And we didn't need it.
No, this was very much a human episode, and the writing was phenomenal.
Or, oh yeah, I think Sapochnik directed this one.
Well, that would make sense.
But like, and that's what he excels at is just those the battle episodes and also like the epicness. Like, it, we keep saying I don't know how they're gonna top the episode. I don't know how they're gonna top this.
I haven't seen a more badass entrance. I keep going back to it. Viserys' entrance into that throne room was just epic
Oh yeah,
because he was so weak and fragile, but at the same time so defiant, and like the music in the background was so epic. It was just a perfect clash.
oh yeah. Like you see the doors open and them announce him, and like everyone tries to go to him, and he's just like basically saying, "Fuck off, I got this."
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Who was it? One of the knights tried to help him. He's like, "I don't need your help." But then Daemon comes over, helps him with the crown, and Daemon's like, "Come on." And that was a great thing also about Daemon. Like he didn't he tried to reflect the attention. Like he knew everybody was watching, but he didn't want um Viserys to look as weak as he was.
Yeah.
He's like, "Come on,
At the end of the
keep
day,
going."
Damon loves his brother. You know, all the issues with Damon aside, he loves his brother, and it's his family, and he's going to protect his brother. He even said it: "I will protect my brother in spite of himself."
Yeah, and he also said in the first episode, "Nobody has your back more than me," and he proved it right at the end.
And if you think earlier in the episode when he told Viserys what was going on, Viserys had no idea,
No,
and
and
Viserys wasn't happy.
again, that he was doped up on milk of the poppy. Another minor detail that we got was obviously Damon picking out the egg from I forget which dragon it was. Is it Caraxes?
Oh no,
The Higgs eggs, or is it Rhaenyra's dragon?
it was Rhaenyra's dragon, Syrax.
Syrax, yeah. So I think he said there was 3 eggs.
Yeah.
So we're getting even more dragons on Team Black.
Oh yeah, we're getting more dragons.
I mean, to be fair, we need more dragons because they keep popping out kids on Team Black. Rhaenyra's got what, 5 now, and another one on the way.
Yeah. I think one more. So I think she and Damon have three altogether. Three or four.
I think her and Damon had 2 in this episode. Obviously, Aegon and Viserys, and then they have another one on the way. And she's got the 2 strong boys,
The three.
the 3 strong boys. Yeah, the
And
youngest
then
gets over Joffrey.
Damon has Rayla and Bela.
Yeah, and they're gonna be marrying each other.
And they're with their grandmother, and Damon's just sort of like, whatever.
You got to feel for Rhaena and Bela. They're so traumatized in the last couple of episodes.
Like,
So
and
they
Damon's like, dude, you got daughters. Like, you gotta be there.
let me try and figure this out. So they lost their mother. Then they had to witness their father and
Aunt
aunts
or
marry each other, and now they're engaged to their cousins.
so their aunt is now yeah, their aunt is now their aunt is now their cousin and their mother-in-law.
Oh man, this
No,
family.
so she's she will be their mother-in-law, their stepmother, their cousin, and their aunt.
There's, I think there's a reason we only ended up with 2 Targaryens, well, 1 Targaryen in the end, that being Jon Snow, because the whole family just is fucked up.
I mean, was he the last one though?
Unfortunately, it was never explored that deeply.
Thank you, Dan and Dave.
Thank you for your time. Please don't come back. I mean,
Yes,
hopefully the Jon Snow series does answer a lot of questions that we still have.
I gotta think so. I mean, it was clear that HBO was not happy with the last season. Like, initially, they wanted them to do, I think it was like 13 or 14 episodes. Yeah, then they
Yeah,
offered 16. And they said, no, we'll do it in 10. And I
yeah,
said, "Oh,
that's the thing. I
what
mean,
about 30?"
money was no object. These episodes were costing millions, 1 or 2 million per episode,
Oh,
and
yeah.
HBO were fine with that. It was David and Danny just, yeah, we don't really feel like writing that many episodes.
They wanted off the project and they wanted to get to Star Wars, which Disney, I think after the backlash, Disney's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, you fucked yourselves up.
I mean, I think there would have been a backlash had they gone ahead with the project.
Yeah, and honestly, the Star Wars universe cannot afford any more backlash.
And funny thing is, I believe it's Dan Weiss. He actually wrote the single worst Marvel movie we've ever seen, X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Yeah,
with
like
probably the worst CGI of any Marvel movie.
yeah, even when it was completed.
I saw the version when it wasn't done,
Yeah, me too.
and I thought,
Maybe that
oh,
was a mistake because it was already hindered by that point.
well, it's not done. They'll work on it in post production. And then I see it in theaters. I was like, they didn't fix it.
It was so weird watching that unfinished version because it was just like green screen everywhere.
Yeah, and like the effects just weren't good.
No, for that time period, they sucked.
But I gotta think if that movie were to be made now under Disney, I think it'd be a whole different movie, and I think it'd be better.
Well, I mean, maybe that's what we're getting with Deadpool 3.
And hopefully they can do something with X-Men now. I think they have the rights to it now because they own.
Yeah, but I'm back in this universe, so we've lost Viserys now. It's pretty much confirmed he's dead at the end of this episode. Um,
His last words being "my love." So,
yeah,
it, did he love Allison? Yeah,
he was so confused because he thought he was talking to Rhaenyra at first.
yeah. So I mean,
So
it's now we get the preview, and the first line we hear is "the king is dead."
yeah, bad news for Team Black because Viserys was Rhaenyra's biggest supporter,
Yeah,
and I mean, obviously she's got the support of Daemon and Valerian household now, but nobody would have gone against what Viserys said.
no,
She always had that protection.
yeah, she was safe. I mean, it's you saw it in the scene where you know Jacaerys and Lucerys were in the training yard, and everyone's just kind of looking at him
Yeah, almost like you don't belong here.
like this isn't your home, and you're bastards.
Again, everybody knows. Look at them.
I
So
still think that was one of Ty Tennant's best scenes.
it was definitely was, and it
It's
was.
saying, "Why are you mad at me? It's true. Look at him."
He didn't even speak much in that episode, other than that scene.
And of course, being on the edge of the tower, and
Yeah, making it rain.
those poor people, King's Landing, literally King's Landing.
Oh, oh, heir to the throne. Disgusting behavior, Aegon.
Is that your king?
Right? He's a bit of a dick.
Yeah. And he's only going to get worse. Like, I think by the time it's all said and done, I think Aegon II, I think he's going to give Joffrey a run for his money.
Oh yeah, I've definitely read that. Again, I don't know the history of the Fire and Blood novel, but I know we can expect terrible things from Aegon II.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling I don't know as much as some, but I'm telling you folks, he's going to give Joffrey a run for his money.
So it begs the question of who does ascend the throne in the next episode, which obviously is going to kick things off or at least set things up properly for the Dance of Dragons, which I don't think is actually going to take place until season 2,
No.
at least.
No. We've got 2 episodes left. I think next episode is going to be the whole thing of now that he's dead, what happens, and word getting back to Rhaenyra, because as we know now, she's still in King's Landing. Because she said she was going to return on Dragonback.
Yeah, she said she was going to see the kids home and then come back on Dragonback. So who knows what's going to happen with Rhaenyra? One thing we do know is that episode 9 is more often than not something mind blowing happens at
Which
the end.
in season 1 of Game of Thrones, I think that was the episode where Ned lost his head.
Yeah. Um, season 4, I think that was the Battle of Hardhome.
Wait, no, Castamere, that was season 3.
Yeah. I think Hardhome was season 4, episode 9.
Oh, yeah.
Castle Black, season 5, episode 9. Or was that John's death?
I think that was John's
Oh,
death.
that was episode 10. That was the last episode when John died.
The first time.
The first time. So yeah, we're expecting something big to go down at the end of the next episode. It looks very, very dark. Is all I can say from the trailer.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's like you see Alicent scheming and, playing into her father's wishes.
Yeah.
Which, if that
He
hadn't happened, if Harlan Hightower were still the hand, I've got to think that she would have gone with Viserys' wishes. Would have been like, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah. And just think, at one point we almost felt sorry for Otto Hightower because all he was doing was just passing on a message to the king, and he got stripped of his title. But he's very much shown his true colors as a schemer.
Oh yeah, he's essentially like Littlefinger. He's not necessarily the Tywin Lannister type.
But you can't trust him.
No, you can't trust Alicent, and it's like I said, if Harlan Hightower were still the hand, I think this situation would be vastly different.
Yeah. So Fire and Blood is coming in the next couple of episodes, and we'll take a little preview in just a sec. So thank you for joining us on Throne Zone once again. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us at Throne Zone UK on Twitter, and of course, Throne Zone is merged with Max Wrestling on YouTube and SoundCloud. So 2 episodes left of this season. Hopefully we can come back next week to talk about episode 9. If not, obviously we'll finish the season with a double
The
header.
double whammy.
So we will see you next time to discuss this.
The king is dead.
He told me he wished for Aegon to be king.
The door remains shut until we finish our business. None can know who you are or what you seek.
What of Rhaenyra?
I have found out something you should know.
This is seizure, and it's treason at the least.